In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts, Alex and Sean. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the Big Bears victory to wrap up preseason. We're going to be talking about the Cubs win streak, the White Sox, the little Bulls and Blackhawks. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You get to see the stars of tomorrow today at family-friendly, affordable prices. So make sure you head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, sign up for season tickets and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Alex, my friend, how are you doing?
I am doing great as we are recording this episode. I am doing fantasy draft number 3, the
Oh
final
man,
fantasy draft.
the Final Fantasy.
So I had one Wednesday, I had one earlier today, and now I'm just starting this one.
Oh man, three. I can't do it. It's too much of a headache. I get too angry at it. It's there's you're like I feel good about this team, and then somebody just sucks that we weren't expecting to suck, or somebody gets a massive injury, and you're like, all right, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, I remember 2020. I had the first overall pick, took Saquon Barkley week 2 at Soldier Field against the Bears, tore his ACL. And it was either, what was it, last year or the year before? I had Jonathan Taylor, and he was the big, fantasy guy. Look out for him. I took him, and he was okay, but he wasn't first overall pick worthy. So, I mean, right now, I'm kind of in weird positions in some of my drafts. Like, this one I'm taking 8th. So I'll see who's on the board by then. I'd like Justin Jefferson, but I'm 3 picks away. I don't think he's going to fall to me. I took Nico Collins in one of my other leagues. See, here's the thing is I want to try to make as different of teams as possible in each league with maybe one or two overlapping. But another funny thing about that is when you're in 3 leagues, the chances are you're killing it for one of your teams, and that same player is killing you in another game.
Pretty
It's
much,
kind of
yeah.
funny.
The league I was in before we decided to fold it, like you read everything and you look at like how to draft and optimizing everything, and I did like this AI thing where like analyze and based on the way your points work, and every year somebody would draft a quarterback like in the top 10 and
Hmm.
or maybe even the top 5, and you're like, ah, crap, because then everybody starts drafting quarterbacks and you're following what you're supposed to. But then by the time the quarterbacks come, you're like, oh, yeah, I've got Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields. Those are my quarterbacks.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Like,
so I just had.
yeah, one year I was like, no, I'm going to stay the course. And I like people had taken 2 quarterbacks by the time I had taken one. Multiple people had. And I'm like, I got to take one. I can't wait any longer.
No, I
And
get it.
I ended up having to just like take I was like quarterback of the week. I'd be like, all right, who's got the favorable matchup? And I was picking backup quarterbacks that were in for somebody hurt. It was terrible. It was just a
Yeah,
tough league.
yeah. So I try to do something with quarterbacks where I try to get an elite one and a good fantasy one. So in other words, like, okay, I have Pat Mahomes in my keeper league. I think in another league of mine last year I had Josh Allen. So like, okay, you get the best of the best, the elite of the elite. And then you get somebody who's like, they might not be flashy, but they're going to get you a lot of yards and touchdowns. That's where I think you pick your Jared Goffs and your Brock Purdy's. And although I can kind of argue he's borderline elite, like your Matt Stafford's, in that area where it's like, okay, that you can get points with these guys. Like they might not have quite the level of Pat Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, but you know Goff's going to throw for a shit ton of yards and he's going to have a decent amount of touchdown passes. You know the numbers for, like a Matt Stafford are going to look really good. Brock Purdy, assuming everybody's healthy, should look pretty good. Even like a Justin Herbert, like guys who put up 4,000 plus yards, 30 plus touchdowns. Like you can always count on those to be like, okay, maybe even if not they're not your starting quarterback, they'll put up points for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the name of the game. Like it's, who cares who the name of the person is? It's just all about, getting enough points to win those games.
Right. So one of my leagues, I drafted Genty first. And in this league, because I want to change things up, I had a chance to draft him again, but I'm like, So I switched it up. I had two picks within like, because I finished high last year in this league. I think it was like a pick, then two picks, then my pick again. I used those on, it was Malik Neighbors and it was, oh, who was the other? I literally just did this. Oh, Derrick Henry. It was Malik Neighbors and Derrick Henry. So they just, if Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't go a pick before me, I probably would have taken Amon-Ra St. Brown, but again, I just missed out on him. So again, that's where I just try to mix things up a little bit. But the other funny thing you meant, you know how you mentioned quarterbacks, like taken first, and all of a sudden the dominoes fall? I feel like it's the same thing with defenses.
Oh yeah. I usually end up, I if I don't get an elite defense, like I'm not one of the first people to pick, I will go with a different defense every single week and um and just play a matchup.
Yeah,
And
sure.
that's, because I was, just like kicker and defense, I'm like, I will just wait. I don't care. Let me rack up as many points as possible. And I remember, I think the last year I was in the league, there was one game where I was up and the other team had nobody left to play. So the only and I all I had left was my defense. And I'm like, I don't feel confident enough this defense is going to get positive points because their defenses
Hmm.
could get negative points. So I benched the defense and sat with nobody just to win. And
Yeah.
and I lucked out. I mean, the defense ended up scoring negative points and it was not enough to lose, but I would have been panicky Pete.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling. Another interesting thing too about like doing fantasy drafts and trying to project where is you always have to look at who you think is going to be underrated in the draft. And sometimes you just kind of got to go with your gut because, you'll go and look at what experts say, you'll see what other opinions are. But really, sometimes it's just random. And then sometimes you'll pick somebody low who doesn't really have a great season, but they'll have those one or two games that could make a complete difference in your season.
Did you by chance see the video of the guy that was drafting in his fantasy football league and meant to draft Bijan Robinson number one overall and drafted Brian Robinson?
I saw that, yes.
I hope
Woof.
that wasn't fake because that is amazing.
Well, I wonder like what kind of league is that? Are you putting in decent money here? I mean, is there something on the line?
Did you ever see those leagues where they have just like whoever loses was last, they make them do something just ridiculously embarrassing?
Yeah, so my buddies and I, we say every year winner gets something, loser gets something, and it like never happens. It was a lot easier to do in college when we were together, but yeah, it's not like going to the Cubs game and like taking your shirt off and like wearing like a dunce cap saying biggest loser in fantasy or something like that. Because we've seen people do that quite a bit.
I think my favorite one is they made the loser enter a bodybuilding competition. And
Ha!
so this guy, like he wasn't a fat guy. He was like skinny fat. And he was just like short and skinny fat and super pale. And everybody else is just like buff and tanned and they're posing and he has no muscles at all.
That's funny.
It was hilarious. I was like, he was a good sport about it. Uh, so the Bears wrapped up the preseason uh, with the game in Kansas City. Um, and again, so Taylor Swift starts her going to games against the Bears, and then her latest one is against the Bears. So um, it started off pretty rough. The
Hmm.
Chiefs just cut through the Bears defense like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get any pass rush at all. None whatsoever. And there were a few moments where your secondary just got absolutely cooked. There was not really much semblance of a competition there. And I get it, you weren't playing everybody, but it does go back to my initial concern that you just might not have the right amount of pass rush that's desired. Again, I don't want to overreact to one preseason game, but I think we all have that in the back of our minds, right?
You know, we haven't seen anything from Io Dengbo yet.
I still don't get that one. You
And
paid a
Austin
lot of money for that guy,
and Austin Booker's hurt.
which sucks.
Yeah. Um, so that really sucks. Um, and we saw the injury, which we knew right off the bat wasn't good with Terrell Smith, and now we know it's season ending. And you start to look at the depth on the of cornerbacks, and a month ago you felt pretty good, and now you're starting to look at it, and you're like, um, some of those end of the roster guys, I don't love anymore. Like
No.
they were fine as end of the roster guys, but now that they have to move up a little bit with, you know, Jalen Johnson not being fully healthy uh and Terrell Smith being out, I really thought Terrell Smith was going to win that number 2 cornerback job. He played great. And
Yeah, that one hurts, man.
yeah. And I don't think it's a huge drop off with Tyreek Stevenson. As long as he plays with his head on his shoulders.
It's the talent is not the issue. It's the IQ on the field with him.
but that's not the concerning part. It's the what happens after that. Um, Trey Flowers just looked like done. Like
Yeah.
I was like, oof. Um, Nashawn Wright looked pretty good until that last game, and then he just looked like burnt toast. Uh, I'm like, what do you do here?
Well, didn't they try to bring in some guys? I mean, the thing is, you're not going to bring in anybody who's likely going to play like an all-pro. You just want to bring in some depth that can be competent.
The problem though is that everybody's looking for corner help.
Yeah.
Like when, like the Athletic, they did their like beat writer for every team went through and predicted, what the 53-man roster would look like. And basically half the teams are like, oh, they're going to be scouring the waiver wire for cornerbacks. And it's a big need because it's a pass happy league and there's not enough cornerbacks. And the Bears were in good shape until injuries. If everybody is healthy other than Terrell Smith, I think they're okay. But man, if anybody goes down, especially for an extended period of time, oof, this defense is going to get cooked.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. It's a little uneasy. And listen, this is going to be a very aggressive defense. We know how Allen plays his defense. We've seen it in the preseason. And, you are susceptible. I mean, no matter what kind of defense you play, you're susceptible to injuries. It's football. But when you play with the aggressiveness they do, you do have to worry a little more about injuries. And I think that when you look at really across the board, like if you look at this defense across the board, you have a number of areas where the depth just falls off. Now, do I feel better, say, like at right defensive tackle, where you have like Gervon Dexter and Shamar Turner? Sure. And, you have Grady Jarrett and Billings, assuming health and whatnot. But I mean, with cornerbacks, with safeties, even like you look at the right side. Okay, Deo Dangbo. I just don't know about that one. So then, what, you think Dominic Robinson's going to finally step up? You think Daniel Hardy is going to be anything? I just, it just makes you wonder how they're going to develop some of this pass rush that they need to, as well as address some of these injury concerns all around the defense.
You know, so yeah, I do have concerns. And some of the positions, there's gonna be guys. There's gonna be guys that are available, waiver or trade. Uh, but the cornerback is not one. And that one scares me a little bit. And edge rusher, you're not gonna get. Unless you um
Isn't
look,
Zadarius Smith still on the market?
there's probably a reason for that.
I was gonna say, like, that is the problem, is if he hasn't been signed by now.
Yeah, but if in the NFL there's a guy who has pass rush ability still on his in his bag and he's sitting out August 24th, there's a reason. Either they don't think he's got anything left, he's injured, he's a pain in the ass, or he wants too much money, or a combination of those.
Yeah, and I wonder too, is is he waiting for a really good opportunity as well,
I
where
mean,
he
he
thinks he can
he could be
go
waiting
and
until mid-season and see like
sure,
who looks good and if somebody get like maybe he's waiting for like a Lions situation where they lose their edge rusher and they've got a good team. He's like, that's a spot for me. That's a possibility. It's not like he needs the money.
right. You don't know with these things sometimes. I mean, we understand that he's an older player. We understand that he's probably not going to be playing at his prime, but this was a guy who in his prime was one of the blue chip players at that position. Now, related to this, I want to ask you a question. I want to get your opinion. This was a
Okay.
question posed on the radio. I was listening to it this week. Would
Hmm.
you trade Montez Sweat with draft capital for Micah Parsons?
How much draft capital?
Well, maybe to start semi-conservatively, a third or a second.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because here's the thing. The goal, the idea, the what you would want more than anything is somebody on the other side of Montez Sweat. But if you're going to get somebody like a Micah Parsons, the Cowboys are going to be trying to replace him if they trade him away. It's not like they're trying to rebuild or anything, right? So you have that issue there. So if you were to swap Sweat and some draft capital to get Parsons, you obviously wouldn't have somebody on the opposite of Montez Sweat because Montez Sweat would be gone, but you are upgrading. Montez Sweat is very good. Micah Parsons is a blue chip.
Yes, Micah Parsons is, if he stays on this path, will be a Hall of Fame lock. Um,
Correct.
and you feel like between Odangbo or Austin Booker, one of those guys could step up and be good enough um, to be opposite of Micah Parsons. I just don't see it happening.
I don't either. But a few weeks ago, maybe even a week ago, I'd say, I would have said, okay, this is probably going to get resolved. But I'm not so sure at this point because, okay, he removed his social media stuff referencing the Cowboys, whatever, but I think it was Adam Schefter who said that this is going towards a divorce. Okay, maybe some information was leaked to him, and maybe it still will end up working out for the Cowboys. However, I feel like it's pretty telling if a reporter of that caliber is talking about it in that way. 'Cause it makes me think that the confidence I would have in the Cowboys resolving things with him aren't as likely as I thought.
It, I look at it, Trey Hendrickson has been absolutely adamant that he wants a new contract or he wants to be traded.
Right.
And they haven't done anything there either. Jerry Jones is the most powerful man in the NFL, and that includes the commissioner. Jerry Jones is the one that makes this league go for this all intents and purposes. Not saying he's the best GM, saying business wise. He's not going to get bullied, and he might just make a point just to not get bullied. And I just can't see Jerry giving in. He might give in money wise. He's not going to give in and trade Micah Parsons and be a fool in public. He's not going to. It's not going to happen. He'll
Right.
die
It's
on that
kind of a
hill.
pride thing.
Yeah, he'll die on that hill. So I, if that happened, and it might. It's. I mean, it is in the realm of possibility. Anything's in the realm of possibility. But if you ask me to put odds on Micah Parsons being traded, it is 0.0001%. It is so low. I don't see it happening. I would be blown away. Like you would physically have to push my jaw shut because it would be agape.
Yeah, I mean, I think I see it happening a little more than you. What I was saying, I agree, don't see it happening is I don't see the Bears doing it. Right? Like,
No.
what are the chances the Bears doing it? Like, super microscopic.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Well, and the thing with
Um,
you mentioned Trey Hendrickson, right? One of the things with him is that he's older. Isn't he 30, 31?
maybe how old is he? Oh, he's 30.
So, you know, he's still very good, but do you risk it? Do you risk giving up a lot of capital for somebody who's older like that?
No, and he's going to be 31 in the season.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not like he's very good, but I'm not giving up a huge a bunch of draft capital to get him either. And then you're going to have to pay him. And you're at the point now where everything you've done cap wise has been the cap has been managed with that year's cap. You're not kicking the can down the road. If you were to do trade for either one of those players, you start kicking the can down the road in money. And I'm not saying you can't do that. Every team, all the top teams do it. The Eagles do it. The Chiefs do it. The 49ers do it. The Ravens do it. They all do it. And if you do it, if you're winning, it's the Saints that stink at it. Because they've kicked it so far down the road. They've never paid the piper. So but the Bears would have to start kicking the can down the road as far as the salary cap if they want to do that. And I don't think Ryan Poles is ready to do that.
Right.
I think he wants that long-term deal with Caleb Williams, then talk about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, so this Bears game, the Bears eventually, so the offense sputtered at first, and you had a missed handoff, and just the offense looked off. The defense was porous, and eventually the ship righted itself. And you saw the defense start to hold. Um, you saw the offense start to move. And I think that Ben Johnson kept the starting offense, or mostly the starting offense. Not everybody played, but the offensive starters that started the game, he kept them in for much longer than I think he had anticipated he would.
Well, remember, we thought they were going off. And then Ben Johnson said, nope, get back out there.
Yeah, he did not want to end on a bad note. He wanted them to go out there, and they did. They executed. Um, and it's like that game was like a microcosm of this whole training camp. There's really good moments, and then there's hiccups in getting the system in place. Um, so it's there's growing pains, and we're seeing a glimpse of what we're going to see early in the season. Just just warning everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a good point because I wanted to say, I think we're going to see some really struggling and ugly moments these first few weeks. I really, really do. And whether it's Caleb, the system, the line, whatever it is, I think you're going to see some issues, some big ones. And if you just want to talk about how Caleb looked against Kansas City, you saw some of those instances where the decision making was a little slow. I'd say the worst play was the sack he took. Now, was anybody open? No, but I think that's where you take off and run, and he didn't, and you ended up losing yards. But again, as the game went on, things went a little smoother. He started connecting with Roma Dunze, another one I want to get to in a minute, but the final line and the numbers for Caleb Williams, they don't look bad at all. You
No,
watch
they
the tape,
they
you
they
see some
looked
good
good.
things. They do. But again, you're going to see moments, I do feel quite a few of them early on, where I think Caleb might take too long to make a decision. He might not put the ball in the right place. He might not be on the exact same page as one of his receivers. He might not get the best blocking from the left side. I'm a little worried about that left side. I said it before, I'll say it again.
Yeah, I am as well.
I just
Um,
Braxton Jones still does not look right.
no, he doesn't look 100%, and he still has that issue where he gets bull rushed, and that's never going to go away. That's just who he is. You're going to have to help him. And I get we have not, Ben Johnson basically said, you haven't seen this Bears offense yet. You're seeing the preseason offense,
Hmm.
which is good and bad. Like you're keeping things hidden, but also these guys got to work through things. And he said the most frustrating part was they scripted plays and they didn't execute on those scripted plays.
Yeah.
But they executed great on the non-scripted plays, the ones that were called in.
It's the opposite of the Luke Getsy era.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, but then you have the newly minted Tyson Bagent, who we'll talk about that contract in a second, came in and he played excellent. And you start hearing fans like, oh, they should start Tyson Bagent. But
Mm.
remember, Tyson Bagent was playing against the reserves. He was playing against the second, third, and fourth string of the Chiefs. They didn't care about winning that game. The Chiefs don't care anything at all about winning a preseason game. Like as the Bears were marching down and getting ready to score the game-winning touchdown, you could see Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce laughing and giggling on the sideline. If that game meant anything at all, like anything, even like just a competitive spirit win, they would have been eyeing that up and with all intent. And they're laughing and joking on the sideline. It doesn't mean anything to them, but
No.
it meant something to the Bears. And I think it should have meant something to the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Tyson Bagent, who he's been a preseason wonder, right? I mean, he just got that contract extension, which again we'll talk about, but he made some nice throws, nice decisions. I mean, the catch along the sideline was ridiculous. And I just think for the spirit of the team, it was good to see. Again, it didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but you like seeing that. And you appreciate the fact that he has that confidence to go out there and play like he thinks he's getting a job, even though he knows he's not. Sure, I mean, getting the backup job is something he's playing for, but he's not in competition to take Caleb's spot. He knows that.
No,
He's smart enough, but he's still putting on that effort.
but you were an undrafted kid out of Shepherd University in West Virginia, and you beat out Case Keenum.
Yeah,
I mean, even without the injury, you beat out Case Keenum. Case Keenum is a longtime, well-respected veteran who's had some success in this league,
he's
and
won playoff games.
you beat him out, fair and square. That is something to hang your hat on. Tyson Bagent should not beat out Caleb Williams. He's not as talented as Caleb Williams. Does he know the playbook better than Caleb Williams right now? That's a possibility. That is
Sure.
a real possibility. But there's if Ben Johnson truly thought Tyson and I'm going to say if Ben Johnson truly thought Tyson Bagent was the best quarterback option for them to win football games, Tyson Bagent would be the starter on this team. Period. I can't say
Well,
that
Ben
for
Johnson wouldn't
certain.
have come here for Caleb Williams if he didn't think so.
Yeah, but if I can't say that with some of the rum dum coaches that we've had in the past, but Ben Johnson truly is going to name the best player to win football games to be the starter, and that's Caleb Williams. Just plain and simple. Caleb Williams is a bigger arm, more arm talent. Uh, you know, is just he's a better football player. And that is not a knock on Tyson Bagent. Tyson Bagent has done really well for himself, and that contract they gave him should reflect that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, out of backup quarterbacks in this league, there can't be too many other players that you feel confident about more so than Tyson Bagent. Trying to think of um old porn stash in Kansas City. Um I would with Andy Reid's system and the experience he's had, uh I would say that's probably a pretty good situation.
Old
Uh,
porn stash.
oh, what's his name? The backup quarterback in Kansas City.
Who's
He
currently in Kansas City?
Yes, he's new this year. He played for the Eagles, he played for the Jaguars. Um it is oh my God. Gardner Minshew.
I forgot he was on the Chiefs, even though we just played him. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I
I
still I
feel
still think of him on the Jags.
I feel pretty good. All right, that's probably a pretty good situation. He's got quite a bit of starting experience. Um, and Andy Reid is going to have him ready to play in that system. Um, but let's see. Um, Joe Flacco is your starter. Um, I mean, me, I mean, maybe Sports Illustrated named Tyson Bagent going into training camp as the second worst backup quarterback. And I'm starting to think he might be one of the top five. Kirk Cousins, all right, Kirk Cousins is probably number one.
Right.
Um, oh man, Jimmy Garoppolo's probably up there. Gardner Minshew, and then you're starting to look Andy Dalton. Okay, then after that, like you know, your Daniel Joneses.
Well, Daniel Jones is starting.
Oh, did he? Oh, he won the starting. That's right. That's right. He won the starting job. All right. Um, and Anthony Richardson's not going to be one of those tops. You don't know what you got in the Giants with Jackson Dart yet. You have no idea. I mean, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby Brissett.
I mean, those guys like Case Keenum have been around a while and have had some success. They've started some games.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I probably have, if you're ranking my personal confidence, I would say Tyson Bagent is top five backup quarterback in this league with Ben Johnson and the way he's learned that offense. Now, last year with that offense, I'd be like, nah, he's probably one of the worst just because you can't overcome that. But Ben Johnson, if God forbid something happens to Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson has to put in Tyson Bagent for multiple starts, do you think he's going to scale that offense at all in the least? I don't think so.
no.
He's going out there and he's going to call that offense. He's going to expect Bagent to run it. And sure, there may be some wrinkles that like, he might do with Caleb. Like Caleb feels confident rolling to one way versus the other, like wrinkles like that. But for all intents and purposes, that offense is going to run with Tyson Bagent, and he's going to have to run it. And that's going to be the expectation because the standard is the standard.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, by the end of that game, I was very happy, and there was no quit in those Bears. And that 2-minute offense to end the game was awesome.
Hey, 2-minute drills have looked good.
Um, and honestly, there's one guy that just really, like, I'm going to be very upset if he doesn't make this roster. And that's Jade Walker. I think
I'm
he
with
got
you.
something there. I think he
Yeah.
got something. We early in the preseason, I think it was the first game. Um, you had Case Keenum call him out by name as that he felt he was really good, worked really well with him. You saw him work his way up, and he's not going to be one of your starters. He's going to be your number five or your number six, probably your number six guy. But man, he's a big, strong kid, makes contested catches, and just seems like a hardworking kid and doesn't quit. I like him. I like him,
Hmm.
and I'm going to be really sad if they cut him.
No, I like him too.
And I think that the numbers game and Jade Walker's play have sealed the fate of your favorite wide receiver, Tyler Scott. I've decided you're a Tyler Scott guy.
Okay. Even though I call him Tanner Scott half the time.
I think he's done. I maybe they put him on the practice squad, but I don't think see any way he makes this roster.
Yeah, I mean it's where do you put him at this point?
I mean, I did my because we have cut down day in a couple of days. I think it's Tuesday afternoon. And I saw the Bills already started cutting players down. Um, I did my 53-man roster prediction. Would you like me to go through it?
Go for it.
I have two quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, with Case Keenum on injured reserve. And they changed the rules this year. Last year and the last couple of years, you had to, if you had somebody that was injured and they weren't going to be done for the season, you had to give them a roster spot. And then uh, after the lockdown time, you could then designate them as injured to come back, but you had to hold a roster spot for them. This year, they're allowing two players to come back sometime in the season that don't count towards a roster spot. I'm going to say Case Keenum's probably one.
Okay.
Running back, I have four. DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monungai, Roshan Johnson, Britton Brown.
No, Ian Wheeler.
No, man, I no uh no Homer, no Travis Homer, no Ian Wheeler. I think Ian Wheeler will be on the practice squad,
Sure.
but I really liked Britton Brown. I thought he put up those tough yards. And he
That's
came in
fair.
here with, no training camp and played. That's my guess.
Okay.
Wide receiver, I have six. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Luther Burden, Olamide Zaccheaus, Devin Duvernay, who is really just your kick returner, punt returner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to get a ton of playing time as a wide receiver. I have Jade Walker. This one was, I, you know, I had to find a spot for him, but that means Tyler Scott not make this roster. I have three tight ends: Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, and Durham Smythe.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll probably keep another tight end or two on the practice squad.
Like a Steven Carlson or something.
hmm and I really wanted Steven Carlson to make this roster. I just think he didn't do enough. Um, O line, I have 10. I have Darnell Wright, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, Braxton Jones, Ozzie Trapillo, Theo Benedette, Ryan Bates, Luke Newman, and then I have Bill Murray.
So Bill Murray over Doug Kramer.
I have / Doug Kramer. I think it's Doug Kramer if Doug Kramer's healthy. I don't know if Doug Kramer's healthy.
Yeah, right.
So that's my disclaimer is it's Doug Kramer if he's healthy, Bill Murray if Doug Kramer is not healthy.
Fair enough.
Um, Edge rushers, I have 5. Montez Sweat, Dio Odengbo, Dominique Robinson, Daniel Hardy, um, and then uh, Tano God, I'm going to butcher this name. Pessignon, um, with Austin Booker being the other guy they put on IR designated to return. Um, I'm not happy about that, but that is what it is. Defensive tackle, I have 5. Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter, Andrew Billings, Chris Williams, and Shamar Turner. Linebacker, I have 5. Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Noah Sewell, Ruben Hippolyte, and Aman Agbanmiga. Um,
No Power Eccles.
no Power Eccles. I have 6 cornerbacks: Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Kyler Gordon, Nashawn Wright, Josh Blackwell, and Nick McLeod. 4 safeties: Brisker, Byard, Jonathan Owens, and Elijah Hicks. And then your standard 3 uh, special teamers. And
Santos Taylor Daly.
yep. So the cuts that people know their names: Zach Pickens, former 3rd round pick, I believe, or is he a 4th rounder? Trey Flowers, Karan Amagaji. I don't see him making the squad. Stephen Carlson, Travis Homer, Ian Wheeler, Tyler Scott. So that's who I think is this roster. And I could be wrong. It'll be curious to see how they're viewing guys. But man, my fingers are crossed for Johnny Walker. Really really keeping him crossed for that guy.
Okay. Yeah, I have like an Excel sheet here. Each tab, I got offense, defense, special teams, and then I have the starting units. So I'm trying to organize as I go. But why don't we talk about the starting units really quick?
Sure.
Okay, so I mean, starting unit on offense, you got your wideouts. So your top 2, 1 and 2, Rome and DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Tight ends. If you're running a 2 tight end set here, Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet.
Mm-hmm.
Your starting line from left to right, Braxton Jones, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright. Then obviously Caleb Williams under center with DeAndre Swift as RB1. Seems pretty obvious, right? I mean, like Braxton Jones is going to be the starter, like at this rate, I feel like.
Anything anything besides that five would be really shocking.
Hmm. And I thought for a while that it was going to be Ozzy Trapillo, but I think it's going to be Braxton Jones.
Yeah, and the Theo Benedette, um, I think they want to get a little more seasoning in him. Um,
I would not put Theo Benedict out there week one. No way.
no, I think you've got to. He's a young kid from Canada. I think you've got to season him a little more. I think him making this roster is a huge step forward for him.
Yeah.
And I still believe in him as a long-term guy in the long term, maybe even halfway through the season. I just think he needs a little more seasoning before you throw him out there in a team that is kind of do or die here. Like you can't stink this year.
No.
I don't think you have to be elite, but you definitely can't stink. You've
No.
got to be at the end of the season, you had better be at either in the playoffs or at the top of that in the hunt list. Not the in the hunt list. The in the hunt
The
list. Like
actual in the hunt,
yes,
not
like
not traditional in the hunt in the Bears sense.
yeah, in the last 2 weeks, you would still better be in the hunt.
Oh, look at you. You're 6-10, but you're quote in the hunt. Yeah, no.
Yeah, like I don't want 80 things to have to go right for you to make the playoffs. I want it to be, yeah, the Bears win this game and they're in. Like that's what I want. And
Right.
I think that's the expectation. Anything
Right.
less, I think we're disappointed.
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. So defense starting unit, I want to do this assuming health for week one across the board, right?
Okay.
So your line from left to right, Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Gervon Dexter, Dayo Odengbo. And
Hmm.
then you have so I mean again, it's how you're gonna play it here. So assuming you're playing nickel, so you got Gordon, Tremaine, Edmonds, and TJ Edwards.
Hmm.
Again, he should be healthy from what I assume,
Yeah,
right? So
I would say so.
and then obviously Jalen Johnson, and then just looking at your other corners, you got Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson with the injury, and then your strong safety and your free safety, you'll have Brisker and Byard out there.
Mhm. Yep. I think that's it. I think the starters are locked up. It's that still that bottom of the roster, which, you know, it's in the NFL, it's important. Guys are going to get nicked up.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so that's uh, looking at the Bears 2 weeks from we're recording this on Sunday. So 2 weeks from tomorrow is when the Bears are going to be opening the regular season on Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. And that defense is going to be relentless against the Bears.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, man.
My hope is that uh, they they still don't have a good offense and that the Bears are going to be able to stay in that and play field position, win the field position battle and win this one. I don't think they're going to win a shootout.
No. No, that defense is good, and they're going to be dialed up.
My biggest thing is they're going to try to confuse uh Caleb Williams. He has to
Yeah.
be ready for them to throw the sink at him. I mean, think about even look what look what Bill Belichick and the Patriots would do against Peyton Manning. They would throw the kitchen sink at him and he stunk. Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, Hall of Famer. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet. He will be a Hall of Famer. Um, and they just absolutely stifled him because they had him confused and they played physical with those receivers and they played mind games with him and their coverages and disguising things. And that's an elite guy who just is a mastermind because he wasn't the physical gifts. It was that guy knew the plays and the what was
Hmm.
happening. And Caleb is a second year in his first year of a really complicated offense. So, you know, uh, just don't look bad. Just don't throw interceptions. Throw the ball away, live to fight another game, win that field position battle.
Well, and I think the other thing too, if you just look aside from Caleb Williams, is they're really good at stuff in the run, and it's gonna get really, really difficult to get that going if they're stuffing you.
That's when you would put in Cam Scatabo. You would just plow through that defensive line.
I had to hold back from drafting him in fantasy just to laugh with you.
Cam Scatabo. There's somebody out there that was dreaming of the Bears starting offense of Tyson Bagent handing it off to Cam Scatabo.
I'm sure you were just thinking about that endlessly.
It was not me. I'm just saying there's somebody out there that was definitely thinking about that.
Yeah, quit lying. It was you.
uh, so yeah, I mean, it's this training camp and preseason went really quick. Um, and we're finally going to get the injuries have been really under wraps for the most part because they don't have to report anything during the season. They do preseason and training camp. They don't have to report anything. And so that's why it's taken so long to hear about some of these things. But, um, pretty soon they're going to have to report where they are with injuries and give us the doubtful, likely in, out, um, designations. So that's going to be good because we don't know the level of these players being dinged up because they're going to say whatever they want to say, and it doesn't matter right now because they've got 2 whole weeks plus to be ready.
Hmm.
But it sounds like Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon are good to go. I have no idea about Austin Booker. That one, I hope he's
That's a
okay.
concerning one. Yeah.
Hopefully he's okay. Because the way he played in the preseason, if he can translate that, we won't even care what Dio Dengbo does.
Nah, he's making a lot of money though.
It's true, but only for 3 years.
I guess.
All right, should we move on to the Cubs?
Yeah.
Mixed bag here. I feel a little vindicated that we know that Kyle Tucker had a hairline fracture in his hand.
I mean, he was clearly not right.
Yeah, it was clear as day. Nobody said anything. It comes out hairline fracture. I wish they would have just sat him. And they gave him a little bit of time off and he comes back and he's hitting better. I don't know if that's a trend or a coincidence. I think it's
I
too
mean, he had
early
a
to
great
say.
series. He had a great series in Anaheim. Anaheim's not good, but it was at least good to see.
Anaheim's not good, but Anaheim is not bad.
I mean, they're not the Rockies or the Marlins or some team like that. But no, I mean, I totally get it. Like I think they were coming into this series a few games under 500, so they're a mediocre team. They're still a team that you want to take care of, and they did. But seeing that uppercut swing and driving the ball again, especially in that one game, he hit multiple home runs was really, really good to see. Um, because the first game back did not look so good. It was the same striking out, rolling over like Jason Hayward to the right side and misplay fly ball. It was rough. And you wish he kind of would have just sat that whole series, but that obviously did not happen. But hopefully, this is a confidence booster because this offense has been broken for a while. And let's be real here. This isn't just about Kyle Tucker. with some of the offensive struggles. Seiya Suzuki has been mightily struggling too.
Yeah, PCA mightily struggling.
PCA, uh-huh.
Um, Michael Bush hasn't been playing that great.
Even Carson Kelly,
Yeah,
he's kind
Carson
of come
Kelly.
back to earth a little bit. The one who's been hitting has been Matt Shaw. Matt Shaw's been doing everything.
It was so frustrating. So you had an incredible series for the most part against the Brewers.
Yes, and I'm glad we're talking about this.
And that last game, you had the opportunity to really to win for what,
Four
four
or
out of five games.
five, and you would have
That
pulled
would have
within 5 games.
Yes, that would have been huge. And you take your two hottest hitters out and put
Yes,
it. The only thing that could have made that lineup worse is if you would have put in Justin Turner at first base.
right,
This is the
right.
only thing you could have done to make that lineup worse. And you just rolled over in that last game. And that was so frustrating.
It was, and I'm glad we're talking about it because there is a reality. Guys need their days off. There are certain matchups that you play. This isn't a random game in early June against the Pirates. This was an important game. And I think this is where you had to treat it with more importance than they did. Now, I'm not always the biggest lineup construction guy. If your hitters are hitting, then you'll make different combinations work. I mean, there were games when we started Justin Turner at first, and it was still fine because Kyle Tucker was mashing, PCA was mashing, Suzuki was mashing, Nico Horner was hitting. But in this case, where so many of you guys have struggled, and Owen Casey, who came up and gave you maybe a little bit of a jolt, and then Matt Shaw, who's been your best hitter, the fact that none of them were in the lineup of the game was very frustrating. Now, you have to put some responsibility on the hitters because I didn't watch the game live. I was at work, but I saw the recap. I saw everything that happened. I mean, they stranded a million base runners again. It was a game that you really did let slip away from a management point to a play point. Like that was a very frustrating loss because a 7 game lead versus a 5 game lead at this point of the season is a very, very big difference.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a huge difference. Um, and I still don't think you were winning this division, but to put the pressure on the Brewers, and let's be honest, the Brewers just played a really tough series against the Giants this weekend, and came back down to earth. And you've got to take advantage of when they're cooling down. And you should have won that game, taken 4-5, and then with them losing 2 of 3 and you sweeping Angels, that that just absolutely monumental shift in that division.
Right. I mean, you give yourself an opening because if you say, okay, 5 game deficit in mid late August, is that easy to come back from? No. Is it possible? Absolutely. It's possible. It's about opening the door of possibility to do so. So we got the frustrating part out of the way. Should we talk about the good stuff?
Sure. Uh, you know, the Angels, they're they're one of those mediocre teams. Um, Not absolute bottom feeders, not near the top. And a couple of weeks ago, they were one of those teams on the fringe of the wild card. Like you're like, are they ready to cross them off of the wild card possibility? Um, but you needed to win. You needed to win that series, and the Cubs did, and they took all three, swept Anaheim. And that was huge.
We talked about Kyle Tucker. Even with the struggles with PCA, he hit the game-winning home run in the ninth inning on Friday night. Your pitching looked really, really good. Obviously, Javier Assad, the hope was to get 4 innings out of him. He went 6. He saved you Ben Brown. And then, obviously, the big story pitching wise is Cade Horton.
Cade Horton, I feel I'll mention this again when we talk about the White Sox. I feel like if you want to turn around and start doing awesome, you need me to start writing you off.
Yeah, I'll say.
You know, I wasn't completely writing off Cade Horton, but I was like, oh, is he the dude that's going to lead you into the playoffs? And then he's pitching great.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got like a point 0.4 some ERA since the break, and again, he's going to run into some tough moments. He's a young rookie, and there's going to be adjustments that need to be made. But holy shit, you look at the stuff. He's throwing 96, 97, 98 with cut. He's throwing breaking balls that just dive. He's just throwing nasty stuff. And what's really impressive is the fact that he's able to pump in strike one so often to a lot of these hitters. Like he's constantly working ahead in the count. And that gives you an automatic advantage when you're able to jump ahead like that. It's one of those things where you look at a guy like Cade Horton and you knew that down in the minors, what was one of his big issues? Walks. And you're going to see instances where he has some walk issues. Now, he'll have some, but boy, he's had some really nice command in these recent starts, and the strikeout numbers are starting to rise.
Yeah, he has been pitching great. He's always had the great stuff. It now he's just putting it all together. And the command has been there and the stuff is still there. It's cool to see. And you need it.
Absolutely.
When you need it the most, it's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was really nice about Saturday was you were able to jump on and score a bunch of runs. It was to a point where you didn't really need Cade Horton to keep pitching. So he pitches well for a few innings. What was it, five or whatever? And even though the pitch count wasn't in awful shape, you're like, all right, you got a big lead. You feel good. No need to waste bullets. He could just go out there and do his thing, and then we'll bring in Ben Brown to finish the game. It was good that they were able to not have to overextend him when you didn't need to.
Right. Um, my question is, so you made a big deal. You bring up Owen Casey, and why aren't you playing him more? Like Tucker's coming back from, a rest after struggling with a hand injury. PCA is not playing great. Um, and none of your outfielders are playing particularly well. Your designated hitter's not crushing it. Why aren't you playing him more when you brought him up? I,
Yeah, and I understand he's not going to get in there every day, but I think there was an opportunity or two, like even today, to give Seiya a day off and let Owen Casey hit. Did you see the double he hit on Saturday night? It was like 114-mile-an-hour exit velocity right into the gap.
he's going to be good. He's going to be good.
And you saw in that first Brewer series, he was a huge part of it.
Yeah. Um, I just want to keep giving him those at bats. Let him play. Let him percolate. Is is because you don't want have to rely on him now, but he's just giving guys respite. But he can give a guy, um he can give three different players, maybe four different players, a rest. And instead, you're having him sit the bench. Like there's a way to have him play every day and not bench somebody else. Um, you can put him in right field, give Tucker a day off. Uh, you can put him in left and give Hap a day off. You
Hmm.
can move Hap to center field and give PCA a day off. You can put him at DH, give Seiya a day off. And he's playing, everybody gets a day off and he just played, 4 games out of 4 out of 6 games without anybody having more than one day off. Um, just give him those at bats. That way, next year when you inevitably don't re-sign Kyle Tucker, he's not coming in with the Matt Shaw experience of having to rely on a young player that's going to take a time to adjust.
Right. No, I agree. And I think the nice thing too about Owen Casey is you can trust him to make some nice plays in the field too. He made a few against the Brewers.
Yeah,
It's not like you might not be PCA out there, but you can
few
rely
are.
on him to,
Few are.
yeah, few are, exactly. But you can rely on him to run down some balls.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it would be real nice if he was your opposite outfielder next year, from Tucker, and you could replace Ian Happ, who's really not played well this year, uh, with PCA in center field. But I think it's going to be Owen Casey is the one who replaces Kyle Tucker.
It could very well be.
I think that's the plan. He's a goofy looking kid though.
Hey, it's funny. Was it the other day when Owen Casey was in the lineup and Craig Counsell pinched hit Trey Turner for him, and they're like, wow, Ginger replaces Ginger.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, the Cubs are playing well right now. And they get a day off tomorrow, and then they start a series against the Giants, who just, kicked a little ass against the Brewers.
The Giants aren't good, but that's a team that can give you trouble.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I thought they were dead in the water, and then they mashed and raked against the Brewers. Um, so I think Matt Boyd starts that series. So hopefully we can, keep this win streak going.
Yeah, if the rotation is what it is, then it should be what? Boyd, Ray, Imanaga?
That is what the probables list.
Yeah. Speaking of which, unfortunate thing about today's game is they pulled Tyone after 62 pitches, and at first we thought it was just Craig being a little over managey, and then well, turns out there was some tightness in what was it, his hamstring or something. They don't sound overly worried about it, but he just came back. He's looked really, really good so far. You don't want him shelved again.
Yeah, they definitely don't want that. Uh, I think it was groin tightness.
Groin tightness. Yeah, that's what it was. Yes.
Um, so hopefully that's okay. Hopefully just being precautious with it. But the Wednesday matchup is going to be fun. Colin Ray versus Justin Verlander.
Yeah, over. He's
Not
his
pitching well.
his numbers overall for his age.
He's 1-10 with a 4.64 ERA.
I mean, he's what, 42, 41?
He's old.
Having a sub 5 ERA when you're over 40 years old with as many miles as you have on that arm, I think is impressive.
Uh, I don't know. He should just retire and hang out with his hot wife, Kate Upton.
He loves the game, man.
Kate Upton.
Yeah, touche. It's a good point. He could also make a little extra money on the side.
I think he's got enough money.
Probably. Probably. I feel like he's going to pitch until every organization in the league says, yeah, no more. You can't. You're done.
I mean, that's
You're
possible.
washed. Would it be funny if like he's like, screw it. If no MLB team wants me, he'll go to some random independent ball team.
He's like Kenny Powers and he goes and pitches in the independent Mexican league. Comes out with an American flag draped over his shoulder with fireworks and shooting like finger pistols.
And the thing is, it wouldn't matter how good he pitches. As long as he's pitching for that team, people would come out and watch.
I would.
Hell yeah. Hey, maybe he could come to Chicago and he could play for the Dogs.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
I would, if that happened, I would be at the first game he pitches.
Uh, that would be awesome if they brought him and John Lackey in.
Oh my God. Did you see Lackey pitched with the Savannah Bananas?
No,
He did when they were in Anaheim.
that's awesome.
He should have rode Buttercup onto the mound. Speaking of Savannah Bananas, did you see everything they did when they were in Chicago?
I didn't see a single thing. I don't hate this in Savannah Bananas. I don't go, oh man, let me check this out. I didn't try to get tickets. I'm indifferent. Um, like I see clips on the internet that pop up in like my social media feed on Instagram or whatever, and I'll watch them. But um, yeah, I don't follow them or anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really my cup of tea either, but when they showed them having a bunch of Southside legends like AJ and Mark Burley and those guys there, that was cool for all the fans that went down there to see them. And they drew massive crowds at Wright Field, huge crowds.
Yeah,
Like they were sold
I
out
think it was,
quickly.
yeah, I think it was tough to get tickets.
Yeah, it was. So pretty impressive they were able to do that. Sell out a 40,000 plus seat stadium like that and it's pretty well done on their part.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean they're really popular. I'm not uh um knocking that at all. It's just not my cup of tea.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Uh,
If
yeah,
somebody
capacity is
said, "Hey,
40,615.
yeah, that's a lot of people." If somebody gave me free tickets, yeah, sure, why not?
Oh yeah, I mean I wouldn't turn it down, but I wasn't also gonna pay the how much it was
Oh
and
no.
try to duke it out to get tickets. Um
Sean in a banana suit was actually just fighting people.
it's like, get out of my way. Get to the Savannah.
See, I think if you were to convince me to draw to one of those games, the draw for me would be to see which former players were playing. Like if there was a Savannah Bananas game at Wrigley Field and Sammy Sosa and Derek Lee and Ramos Ramirez and Carlos Zambrano were there, okay, I could see that. So people went on the south side, they wanted to watch Mark Burley pitch. They wanted to see him throw to AJ Pierzynski again. And it's okay, I could see people being drawn to that.
I want to see Carlos Zambrano take a bat to the water cooler.
It'd be funny if he was stepping up to the plate and somebody instead of throwing a ball, they just put a water cooler right at home plate and he just smashes the crap out of it.
You'd watch Mark Pryor come out to pitch for the Cubs and injure himself.
Oh, that's mean. That is so mean.
Uh,
I wish John Lackey had a spittoon.
ding.
Ting!
They're like, John, did Buttercup have to poop all over the infield? Shut up. That's what you get. We're a package deal.
It's fertilizer.
Makes that grass grow.
That's disgusting.
Next season, you'll notice.
It'll be a nice patch of grass.
I don't even charge extra.
Uh,
All right. Should we switch sides of town here?
oh, I'm Sean. The White Sox don't score runs.
I told you. It's Colson Montgomery. Write him off out of the plans. Cade Horton, not a front end starter. White Sox can't score any runs. I am the, the
King of the Jinx.
king of the jinx. Uh, White Sox have been scoring runs, and Colson Montgomery has been a power guy.
Yeah, he's been on a power tear. He's just hitting bombs left and right, and he's been hitting majestic ones to the back of the bleachers.
Since All-Star game, he's got 12 home runs and 32 RBIs. He's second in the American League in RBIs since the All-Star game.
That's impressive.
And he hit his first grand slam on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's been playing great.
And he hit two more today.
and his fielding has been decent. Like, I mean, he's not a Javi Baez prime, but he is not a detriment either.
No,
Um,
no, no, no.
and you've got him playing a couple positions. So I think if you get him a little time at one position, he's going to be a plus defender, and that bat is something you can build that team around.
Absolutely. I mean, that right there. And you see guys like Kyle Teal hitting as well. You pair those two up and you have something there. You have something to build around. You have something that looks like it's going to be special. I mean, this power talent that Colson Montgomery has, if you're not paying attention to it now, you better pay attention to it because I don't think it's a fluke. I think this is legit.
I mean, for the White Sox sake, you hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when Chase Mydroth came up? He was, you know, power crazy, and that wasn't who he is, and that went away pretty quick. I don't see that with Colson Montgomery. I think this is legit power, and he's finding that stroke. Um, he might be a guy that you can build that White Sox offense around. I still think next year you need to add another power bat.
Oh, absolutely. You
Um,
have to. Yes.
I mean, you got plenty of places you can put it: DH, first base, uh, corner outfield. So it's not like you pigeonhole yourself. You're like, we need a power hitting first baseman. Uh, you've got a few positions. I keep hearing people talk about Josh Naylor as the White Sox guy next year, and I don't know if I love that, but
Hey, he
uh,
wouldn't have a chance to kill him anymore.
that's true. Addition by subtraction on
I
the
was
other
gonna say
teams.
there's multiple benefits of that.
And the White Sox made a roster move, and honestly, it's I think it's has the possibility of it's low key good. They they called Corey Lee back up, and so they had the two catchers that um you had Caro and Teal, and both young players, and for the most part, Will Venable wasn't playing them at the same time. And he hinted that it was because if a DH got hurt, the way the rules are is the pitcher's got a bat. You
Hmm.
can't substitute the DH. Um, but now you've got a third catcher up there. So really you lost your any excuse you have that you can't bat both of those guys in this game at the same time. And I
Right.
think I think they're two of your young good hitters, and you got to play them. And if something were to happen, you've got Corey Lee that can come and catch. Uh, so I think your excuse goes out the window, and I think you got to start playing both of them. This is
Hmm.
you are playing for next year.
Correct.
So get those guys, facing major league pitching on a regular basis. So next year when they come up, it's not too big. They come in, with a decent amount of seasoning.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, and then finally, Josh Rojas got DFA'd.
Yeah, little too long in my opinion.
I mean, you want to talk about guys that stunk. This was his slash line: 180, 252, 259 with a 512 OPS.
Don't worry, he'll just go to the Brewers and turn into a masher.
So if you were to rank every position player's F war this season, there are 1,391 players. Josh Rojas was 1,388th.
Ooh,
There was only three players statistically worse than Josh Rojas this year.
who were they?
I don't know, but they probably stunk real bad.
I would think so, yes.
They smelled like doo doo. You'd probably notice them because of the flies all around them. So yeah, that's good. Addition by subtraction. Josh Rojas gone, um, and hopefully the expansion of roles of some of these young players. Um, you you had a starting rotation spot that was open. Um, and they put in Yendis Gomez to start. And he had his over the weekend, he had his third start so far. And I think 2 out of 3 pretty decent starts.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
he's looked
don't know
solid.
if he's a long-term answer, but he is playing pretty well right now.
Yes,
And
he
he
is.
he gives you an answer of a guy that can gives you that fifth starter.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's good that you have guys that are stepping up. Next year you still need, I think, a veteran, at least middle of the order guy, like to be in your starting rotation. I mean, looking at it, you need a bopper, either first base, DH, corner, outfield. And you need some bullpen help because your bullpen stinks. You need a veteran pitcher to put in there with some of those younger guys. Because Cannon is not going to start anymore, I don't think.
It's been rough go for him.
You
He
know,
he had a stretch where he was pretty good, and then
there was a stretch where you're like, oh, hey, maybe this is and then eek. Um,
yeah, just really kind of.
yeah. And so, I think bringing in a veteran helps you out. I think you can sneakily add some guys to this roster next year. And with the progression of some of your younger players and some of the players that you have in the minors that are going to come up, or are already have come up, and adding a couple of key veterans, and I'm not even saying you have to add, you know, like a Vladdy or something, like a high price. There's some key veterans you could bring in, and this team could take a big jump next year.
I think they'll take a very big jump next year. I
And
really
that
do.
that brings my question. Uh, how do you think in the past 12 months, the perception outside of the South Side has changed about the White Sox, or do you think it has?
I think I think within market there's a bigger perception change because I think people who understand like how they've changed some of the infrastructure with this team, bringing in a guy like Brian Bannister, seeing what some of these prospects are about. I think in market you're seeing a change of perception. Outside of market, I don't know if it's changed that much. Um, I think that if the Rockies kept losing the way they would, then maybe they would have taken that back seat to that worst team ever, title. But I think it will change in time. I just think it might take a little longer than what we see as regular observers. Because when you've been as bad as they are, you're not going to necessarily get the attention for every small detail. I mean, plenty of people were probably wondering what the hell the Cubs were doing when they were rebuilding with Theo Epstein. And it kind of took them until mid 2015 when they started winning again for the people to notice that. So I think the perception maybe hasn't changed yet, but it can if it keeps moving forward like this.
I think within the White Sox fans, it has been a stark change.
I agree. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
night and day difference. Just even talking to White Sox fans, even from the beginning of the season, uh, there's the difference, the way they talk about them. I think within the city as a whole, you're starting to see the perception change because the White Sox, even though they're not winning, like I mean, they had a rough week. Um, like they didn't play particularly well, but the the way that they're viewed within the entire city, I think, is starting to change. And I think within the division, it's starting to change. And I think with national writers, you're starting to see that difference. Um, you know, uh, MLB.com, is posting articles about the White Sox. I think slowly. I don't know if the average fan is ready to look at the White Sox anything different than they did last year or the year before that.
Right. Yeah. It's more about
Um,
the average fan. Right.
but I think I think people are starting to take notice, and there it's funny because Getz was not good in what the role he was in. He failed up and has been successful. That's a rare
I think
feat.
a lot of it has to do with the personnel he brought in. I mentioned Brian Bannister being one of them.
I wonder if Jerry is starting to take a back seat a little bit and just letting Getz do what he wants to do.
Well, and that's another thing too is how much of it was gets and how much of it was just being at the mercy of ownership. You
I'm
know,
curious. I'm
you're
curious if you,
limited with what you can do and what you want.
I know Jerry had so many dirty fingers in every play and every decision, and uh and I wonder if that is sort of, especially now that we know there's ownership transition going on, if that's going away and you're just watching a team with a real front office just doing their job.
Dirty fingers. Shows up with just dirt covered fingers and just clawing into everything.
Um, so I have one more point, and it's gonna overlap with Cubs and White Sox.
Hmm.
Over the past probably 2 weeks, I've seen multiple people start talking about, because it seems like expansion is on the near horizon for MLB.
I know where you're going with this.
And there's talk of, well, if we're going to bring in new teams, let's talk total uh realigning divisions. That my question is, I've seen a few where people are like, oh, this and this, and I hate them. Absolutely hate them. Hate, 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 hate. Uh, but if you're completely blowing it up and trying to do a smart, thought out realignment, um, what are you? Let's start with, for both the Cubs and the White Sox, who are non-starters for you to take away from their division? Like, who has to be in a division with the Cubs? Who has to be in a division with the White Sox? And if they're
You,
not, you're just, nope, not having it.
you can't take away the Cardinals from the Cubs, and I don't think you could take Detroit away from the White Sox.
I would agree with that.
You can't take the Cardinals Cubs rivalry is one of the oldest rivalries in sports. You can't take that away.
Yeah, and I've
It's
seen a
it's a
couple where
shame that
they've
it,
taken the Cubs and Cardinals, and I don't even look at the rest of it. I'm just like, it's stupid, and I don't want to see it.
I don't like that NHL took away Red Wings Blackhawks.
Yeah, I hate that. I do not like. Um, but I think when you start looking at restructuring, I think people are willing to have a really drastic change, but you have to preserve the iconic rivalries. So Red Sox, Yankees, Dodgers, Giants, Cubs, Cardinals. I think you have to maintain those.
Boston, New York.
Yeah, Yankees, Red Sox. Like you have to maintain those. Like you just, the stupid to not.
Right.
Um, so I am going to uh I'm going to make a proposal here.
Okay.
Let me know what you think.
Okay.
So there are four divisions in each conference. So I'm going to call it the Northeast division. This one is tough because the way it's worked out, it is going to be a bruiser powerhouse division every year. But Red Sox, Yankees, Mets, and Phillies. And then you have the Mid Atlantic, which will be the Orioles, Nationals, Pirates, Blue Jays. The Great Lakes. Oh my God, my phone died.
Nah.
My phone died. Let me plug it in. Hold on a second.
While you do that, I just want to make a point is I still don't like the overall idea of just getting rid of the National League and the American League. I just
What was
don't.
that?
I was just telling our listeners that I still don't like getting rid of the AL and the NL. That's just me. Is your phone plugged in? I think he's having some technical
I was
difficulties.
having some technical difficulties. Hold on. I'm gonna
Yeah.
plug in my phone. Hold on.
So as Sean goes to plug in his phone, this is a really, really good opportunity for me to spill some tea about Sean. He brags about his Greedo shrine. Well, guess what? His Greedo shrine is 5 inches shorter than he wants you to believe. Don't tell him I told you, but that's the truth. He is very, very proud of his Greedo shrine.
I just heard Greedo.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Um, my Greedo shrine. Yeah, I went to go grab my phone charger and I totally pulled my microphone and headphones off and it switched to the audio is coming out of my computer instead of my headphones. I'm like, oh my God, everything's discombobulated.
Oh no.
Oh no, what is going on? Uh, all right. So, um,
You were at the Great Lakes.
yes. So, uh, I have the Great Lakes. It's the Guardians, the Tigers, the White Sox, and the Reds. The Southeast, the Braves, the Rays, the Marlins, and I have the one of the expansion teams being Nashville.
Okay.
Then I have the Pacific, which would be the Dodgers, the Giants, the Padres, and the Las Vegas Athletics.
Okay.
The Mountain, the Mariners, the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, and the Angels. And you could probably switch Angels Athletics in either one, but uh, then I have the Central, which will be the Astros, the Rangers, the Royals, and the my guess is the Salt Lake City team.
Okay.
Then the North Central, which will be the Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers, and Twins.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Interesting. Uh, you keep the Cardinals with the Cubs. You
And the
keep
Brewers.
and the Brewers, and you kept Cleveland and Detroit with the White Sox.
Yes.
Um,
Flip flop the Twins with the Reds.
yeah, which they're not. The Reds and the Cubs have been playing each other for eternity, but they're not the level of rivals that either team is with the Cardinals. Like, I would think that history would dictate that obviously the Cardinals are a bigger rival to the Cubs, and I do think that the Cardinals are a bigger rival to the Reds as well.
Right. Um, so yeah, that's my proposed. Um, so there's more divisions. They're a little bit smaller and uh, but they're more regional, so less travel in division.
Right.
So I don't, looking at some other people's, I just absolutely hated them. Uh, I think this preserves a lot of rivalries and can develop some new regional ones. Um, and if I thought about it, maybe it would be nice too to, I don't know if that'll work. I mean, I was gonna say it's nice to have a team in the Cubs division if this goes through where they have a dome. So you'd be playing indoor games, so you'd have another option
Well, you
to
don't have
early in the
that.
season. That's nice. So you don't have to play in Florida or Texas or California to start the season. You could start in like Minnesota.
Well, I mean, the Brewers have the retractable roof.
That's true. And the weather doesn't get that bad in St. Louis. Not like Chicago or North. So
It can't get very rainy though.
It can. It can. I don't worry so much about the rain. It's more that chilling cold
Yeah.
in Chicago and Milwaukee and Pittsburgh and some other places that are north, uh, Detroit. Like in those April games and early May games, like it could be in the 30s.
Those
It's
could
too
be tough.
cold to play baseball.
Yeah.
Like St. Louis, they're not they're not like a southern team, but they are like you start to go towards that more southern climate. Like
Yeah.
it's not nearly it's like Nashville. It doesn't get nearly as bad as Detroit or Chicago or Cleveland or
No, and you're not by the Great Lakes.
yeah. So I think that would be nice because then you could be like, oh, well, the Cubs can play all over the place in division or on, you know, the warmer states and not have to play in Wrigley until May.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the White Sox preserved the Guardians and the Tigers because I thought those were, you know, the two bigger rivalries they had, and you could add the Reds in there. So I think that would be fun.
Hey, you'd be bringing the Reds and the White Sox back together, the Black Sox rivalry.
Yep. So that's my proposal. We'll see how they do things.
I'll just be completely honest. I don't want the crosstown in division. I just don't.
No, I don't. I don't want that.
I don't want it.
Anybody that wants that as part of like a normal non-interleague play kind of series, like that's just mayhem. Like, do you want that many games, Cubs versus Sox?
No, I
It's
don't.
just going to be mayhem. And then when you add like, yeah, they're fighting for standings, it's
Oh boy.
going to get ugly. I think it's silly. Just leave it be. Leave them in the opposite leagues.
You and Gary would kill each other.
Uh, so there's only a couple more things I wanted to bring up. And not huge ones. Is one, Derrick Rose is going to have this number retired in January with the Bulls,
Mm-hmm.
and Frank Nizar signed a huge long-term deal.
I think that's big for the Blackhawks, and I'm very, very high on Frank Nazar. So seeing that extension, they're clearly high on him too. And hey, he's locked up now. I loved the way he played towards the end of the year last year.
Oh, me too. And it makes you wonder if they're working on locking Connor Bedard up for a long-term contract too.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It gives you an understanding of like where you are long term. Like that's a 7-year deal, and sure, it's if he plays like you think that's a steal at the end of that
Yes.
contract.
Yes.
If not, like it's still by the end of it's not going to be that bad.
Right. No, I think it's like what we've seen with a lot of baseball teams extending their young stars that either haven't played or like just got a taste of the big leagues.
Yeah. So I'm for it. I think you've got the money. Sign guys to extensions, gets you closer to that floor, locks up guys long term, and lets you really understand where that rebuild is going.
Yeah, and I mean, because you haven't spent really any money on free agents this offseason.
No, you haven't. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Nope, I've said my piece.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. And please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. Have a grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or Swerski_Sports_podcast on Instagram, or ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter/X, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win.
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like number New Yorkers. Smoking crack is not legal on planes.
Bears 31 to -7.
The Bears.
Oh, when the Bears go Bears.